6 ways to expand your perspective today on 7 a.m. Hello, hello, good morning, everyone. Welcome to 7 a.m. It is May 6th, 2021. My name is John Henry Soto. That's Juan Enrique Soto in Spanish, in case anybody is interested in knowing that. For a while, I've been thinking about perspective. Actually, I've been wanting to talk about this. I just didn't know exactly. I couldn't find something that gave me enough information that I could give to all of you, because perspective is, I have my perspective, and for me to just give you my perspective, that wouldn't be a way to show you how to increase your perspective, because that's my perspective. So I had to get an outside kind of thing, and I couldn't really find anything. But I found this article that had just 6 ways to expand your perspective, and it was pretty interesting. And I'm gonna go over that today. It's a blog, really. Um, Guy's name is Kevin Eckenberry, and you can find that on his site, kevineckenberry.com. And very interesting article here. Before we get started, just want to thank everybody for tuning in. My name is John, and I'm here every morning, 7 a.m., Monday through Fridays, talking about stuff. I have some coffee. Sometimes we have some laughs if I'm in a mood, or if I say something funny, because that always helps too. Um, and we have a positive outlook on the day ahead, and I think that that's, to me, is something that's really tremendously beneficial to me. um, as I'm doing this, I know that there are people listening, because I get messages, wonderful messages, by the way, and I want to thank you for that. But it is something that I know is a give and give. It's a win-win, really, for me, and I hope you're enjoying this. If you do like it and you're on the YouTube channel, please like, share, and subscribe. Send it to people. Say, hey, this little Puerto Rican dude is on every morning, and sometimes he makes sense. Sometimes he has things that help. If you want to check him out, if you're getting ready for work and you got a few minutes, and or if you want to just listen to the podcast, this is also recorded on a podcast on the way to work. If you're on the treadmill, you want to listen to something, there you have it. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you very much. And we have new topics every day. Sometimes they may blend into one another, because sometimes life is that way, but generally it's new topics. So let's get started. Okay, perspective. So in 2020, one of the things that I really realized was that perspective was really lost, um, to people that I thought had really good perspective. And this is gonna, I'm not gonna get political here, but one thing that I've always managed to do really well, from a little boy to a little man, I just knew my perspective on life was always to learn about something, was always to explore something. When somebody said something, I didn't trust it right away. It didn't matter if it was family, if it was close friends, didn't matter who it was. Especially if I saw it on TV, I always had my doubt on what that was. Why did they say that, or why was that the decision they made? I didn't know I was doing this at the time. As I got older now, I look back and I realized, oh yeah, I did do that. I wonder why. But it was just because I was interested in figuring out what the truth was, or trying to see where I can find the truth. And the more you explore, the more you take the time to look at all sides of issues, look at everyone's background, people that are being that we're people are talking about, um, and explore that. The more you can actually find out their perspective, those people, and you can build your perspective based on that research, right? So this is something that I really think is very helpful, and it's a way that you can quickly and easily increase your perspective, expand it, and it'll help you and it'll help those around you, which I think is another reason why I do this show, is so we can all help each other, right? So the first one is it's a little rude actually. It says shut up and listen. I don't know about shut up part, but I think they just mean be quiet, or they're just being dramatic in the article. But being listening is very important, because you have to realize you have your own perspective, right? You have your, you know, that that's not going to change. Mary, it's not, your perspective isn't going to change much if you just keep talking and talking, right? So you listen to what others have to say, see how they see the world in different situations. um, Not only will you learn something and gain a new perspective, but you'll build relationship with that person that you're talking to. And you know, so it's a win-win on that situation, right? So listen, you know, when people are saying, and as you know, I've been, um, it's been pointed out that when I'm in meetings with more than, like, you know, 2 to 3 people, I say very little, because I'm listening to everyone. I want to see where everyone is coming from with whatever we're talking about, and I want to make sure that when I speak, that I'm coming from the viewpoint of everyone's perspective, that I've learned something from everyone's perspective. So it's important in a meeting to just kind of chill out, you know, and don't start, okay, everyone, so I want to say something. I think that it's important. No, no, no. Just listen, sit back, have everybody, let them have their say, and then come out and with your new viewpoint or perspective. Or maybe nothing's changed, you know, maybe you just think, I still, this is still my perspective, you know. But at least now you have more information about the group, right? um Number two is ask more questions. You know, I mean, when you're, when, you know, and this applies to one-on-one conversations, right? And what you're doing is you're trying to learn by listening, right? But you have to ask the right questions. And when a person is curious about the world around them, and they ask questions, they understand things better, and your perspective automatically increases, um, because of that. You know, so asking questions is a very great. It's a very good way to increase your perspective when it's based on what the conversation is, of a curiosity, not of a gotcha moment, right? Because this is what happens a lot when people ask questions. It's like they want to find out, well, why is that? Well, how did, no, no, I'm not, you're asking a legitimate question to get information, not to pry, you know, not to pry into someone's life. So you have to know how to actually navigate those questions. But make, just all you have to do is base them on the conversation, base them on the actual subject, you know. So if somebody's talking about cars, I only drive these fast cars, I only love these fast cars. So you're gonna say, well, how expensive are those cars? Well, that's not the question to ask, right? It's like, what do you get out of driving fast, right? Which car is the fastest, do you think? You know, which car do you think is the best, and economically sound car, where, you know, gas mileage and all that, you know, those kinds of things will give you a different perspective. And, oh, okay, he likes them because of that, he likes them because of that, not because he's rich, right? But because rich people have like cars, right? Or some rich people like cars. But you know, that's not going to give you perspective if you're talking about that, because of course it's just money, right? But when you ask questions specifically about that subject, it does increase your perspective. So that's number, whatever I said that was. Um, that was number two. All right. So number three is spend time with new people. Now, this is something that I love doing. Unfortunately, last year was a little tough time to meet new people, right? But it was an opportunity to meet new people via social media. And I did meet a lot of people on my show, the JHS show that I did last year. I did about 100 episodes there. And a lot of those people I knew, but quite a few of them I never met. I met them through connections through other people, and didn't really know them until we got onto this live show. And it was a wonderful thing to have those perspectives, because that's what that show did the most for me. You know, you talk about asking questions, it's all I did, right? I just asked questions to my guests, and they were wonderful. They were very open, and I try to ask questions based on interesting on things that I find that I think will benefit others to know, like the journey that they're on, and how did you achieve that? What was the struggles? Any barriers? Any suggestions for anybody on the same path? Um, and those kind of questions really expand your perspective, because you get to see all the different ways that people achieve things and succeeded and found confronted barriers and people, and all these things were very really important. And you know it also gets you out of your comfort zone, right? When you're meeting new people, um, you're not comfortable, right? Because you don't know them. And some people are like, some people don't go through life without meeting anyone. They just have their family and their close friends that they knew, and everybody else is just like, hey, what's up? Hey, just an acquaintance. Maybe you work with somebody new that comes in, you know them because you're forced to, right? But you're not necessarily going out and meeting new people, right? And that's a great way to increase your perspective. The next one is to read more broadly, right? So read about different subjects. Now I'm kind of very tough about this. I'm a little stickler about what I read. I'm not really big on reading other things, so I need to work on this part for myself, because I like to read biographies. I like to read old political books like the Benjamin Franklin books, Thomas Jefferson, things that they wrote themselves, not things that were written on another by someone else's opinion. Um, I like to read things like I have here the Constitution, which I've read, the Declaration of Independence, the Federalist Papers written by James Madison, um, and and then some novels, some novels here and there, and then a lot of motivational business books, like Gary V's Crushing It and 10X by Grant Cardone, and Brandon um, Russell Brunson. All these guys have written these great books that have tools that I use to operate business and to expand my savviness, right? But one thing that I have not done is I haven't really branched out, and I read a lot of Scientology books, obviously, because that's there's a lot of that in my courses and stuff like that. This is a tiny little booklet, The Way to Happiness, but it's a bigger book as well that you can get. Um, and so I do a lot of reading based on spiritual awareness and increasing your abilities, your skills, right? So, and I have some music books, music meaning like music about the history of Stevie Ray Vaughan. So anything that I'm interested in, personal development, music. I have film books, biographies, which I love about, Mickey Rooney. I read a Mickey Rooney thing recently, not recently, a few years ago, but it was really good. Martin Short had a great book. Steve Martin has a great book on comedy. And I have these books, and those are that's my niche, that's my thing that I love. And that's where I try to stick to, but I really should start reading more about other things. I'm trying to find, if anybody has any suggestions or anything that I should really read, drop it in there or send me an email at johnhenrysoto@protonmail.com. I would love to take it out, check it out and just see other things to read, because I that does expand your perspective when you're able to do that. So that's the next one here. Read. Let me get a drink of coffee here. Ah, good stuff. All right. Watch different stuff. This I do. So it's like, like reading, what we choose can broaden, right, your perspectives, right? If you always watch sports, if you always watch the Food Network, if you always watch dramas or just comedies or whatever, try something different, right? Try the biography channel, or try the history channel, or just try a channel, one of those other channels that you're like, what is that? You always skip through it. And I haven't had television since I think 2014 or 20 about 2014. We got rid of our television, right? So we only stream stuff. But there's stuff that you can watch, on YouTube and whatever. Just different stuff, and sometimes what happens is on YouTube and all these other networks, they'll suggest things that are similar to what you're already watching. Don't do that, because that's the whole point, is that you don't want to if I go on my YouTube channel, and what do I get? Get comedy videos, I get music videos, actors talking about stuff, motivational stuff, Gary V, all these things. That's what I get on my YouTube channel, right? But if you go in and you say, okay, today I'm going to learn about the history of like Colombia, for instance, is going through some problems right now, right? Really serious problems, right? Corruption, socialism, all that stuff is tearing up the country. Venezuela, the same thing, right? Socialism, right, which doesn't work, destroying the country, right? Um, and I was like, well, let me read a little bit more about the history, and I did. I just typed in a couple of YouTube videos. I did this last year. Colombia, I did recently, but with Venezuela, last year, I just typed in. I learned a lot about Venezuela, and it increased my perspective on knowing that it only took 20 years from being a really strong economy, a capitalist economy making money, to what it became, where they were breaking into the zoo to kill the animals, to eat the animals because there was no food. This is some heavy stuff. So that my perspective on everything was like, holy cow, that just completely blew my mind after I learned this stuff. And that is something that I think everyone should do is, if you see something, instead of just like seeing it and passing through, try to investigate a little bit more, try to go watch something different that'll increase your perspective on that subject. I think that's very helpful. Um, the last one is well, the last one is sort of I think it combines a lot of different things that we were just talking about. It says experience your experiences through a new filter. um Pretty much all of your life experiences can help you gain new perspective, right? If you look at them, but look for situations you don't understand, right? So like or things that surprise you, or be curious. So that's a little bit like watching stuff, but not just that. When you're out and about, think about things that happen, and that things you hear through the filter of your current challenge or a problem, right? Then notice things and compare the issues to what you're contemplating. Um, Consistency, if you're consistent in doing this, it will increase your perspective, because you're able to look at something and then say, okay, I have this perspective on that, but all right, let me take a look at this and see what they're thinking, and then dive into that. I did that a lot last year, where people will say something and I'll be like, oh, okay, that's an interesting perspective. I'm not going to shoot it down, but I'm going to look into it. And then when I look into it, 90% of the time I was like, yeah, I was right. That's just garbage. And I would have to just, vocalize my opinion, to try to help people, to actually, so they can actually do the same thing that I did. Dive in, take a look around, check out the thing. Um, and that's a new way of actually increasing your perspective. So these six things will help you increase your perspective. Listen, ask more questions, spend time with new people, read more, watch different stuff, and experience your experiences through new filters. Look through someone else's perspective, right? So that one is a very interesting one. It's a little bit more intricate to try to narrow down, but it basically just means to find a situation and then look at it through their eyes. People say, put yourself in my shoes. Well, yeah, put yourself in other people's shoes and see, like, okay, why do they see it that way? Well, okay, they were born there, they were born here, they're married to this person, they have this viewpoint, and all these things will give you that idea where you can actually have a new filter and kind of look at that situation through their eyes, and then see, and that will give you a different perspective, not only on yourself, but it will give you another a good perspective on how to communicate to that person and to others that have those particular viewpoints and perspectives. um, so walking through life, we all have our challenges, we're all hit with different things, but are we really? Not really. We're all hit with basically the same challenges. It's all about how we approach those challenges, right? We all have work to do. We all have families. We all have people that are in the environment that we don't like. We all have, that family member that's been around that's always suppressive and always putting people down. You may have a spouse that's just needs to be worked on, or you need to work on your partner and get them a little bit more on board with what you're doing. We all have the same basic overall challenges, financial challenges, housing, political stuff. We're all in the same kind of boat. Right? When people say that we're all in the same boat, it really is true. But have how you actually confront these has a lot to do with your perspective on how you're looking at them, right? And somebody can look, it's the whole, half empty, half, like my cup right now is full, right? I look at the glass always half full. If you look at it half empty, that's just a different perspective on how you're looking at things. And unfortunately, you're going to look at everything that way. You're going to look at every situation with a negative thing. So if somebody says, "Hey, I just won $1 million," the negative, somebody, a pessimist is going to look at it and goes, "Yeah, but you know how much taxes you got to pay," right? And you're looking at it like, but I just have $1 million, you know. But that's the viewpoint. That's the way you're actually, the perspective that you're gonna have. So it's not so much working on the things around you, right? It's working on yourself. It's always gonna come down to personal development. How much can you take? Are you pulling in bad jobs, bad bosses, bad situations, bad life, bad relationships? Are you pulling that in? You know, and if your perspective in life is that I'm always defeated, or that I'm always sad because this happened to me and I feel, but if you're pulling that in, you're going to pull in worse and worse situations for yourself, because there is no improvement if you don't sit down and say, "Man, I got to change my viewpoint. I got to start looking at things with a little bit more open eyes. um my perspective needs to change." Well, these 6 things will actually help you increase your perspective and help you be that person that you are, because we all have incredible abilities in us. We all have innate in us the ability to help millions of people if we wanted to. We really have that in us, and it's self-doubt, which I have. I'm not out there, preaching as much as, or help, I can be doing a lot more basically, right? But we all have that in us, that and we have to believe. Now, I believe I have something in me to help others. I truly, truly believe that. It's why I'm here every day, Monday through Fridays at 7 a.m. doing this, because I do believe with all my heart that this will help at least one person. And if it helps one person, that for me is totally, totally satisfying. And we all have that ability in us. So get out there, take these 6 points, these ways to expand your perspective, and do it, and get a different way of life. It's going to improve your life in so many ways, and you're going to be able to help more people, which is really the reason why we're all here on this planet, is to help each other, not hurt each other. All right, my friends, I want to thank you all for tuning in. It is Thursday. I forgot what day it was. It is Thursday today, and I will see you all tomorrow, Friday. Please have a wonderful day. Make today great. Do the things that you love. Take care of yourselves. And as always, peace.